Millionaire says the Chappaqua man got an answer wrong, but as News 12's Jennifer Jordan reports, he hopes for another opportunity in the hot seat.
It was the dream of a lifetime when 32-year-old Bob Bass of Chappaqua was called to the $1 million seat on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Clinton's just moved in there, right?
Yeah, it was a pretty big event.
So with the president as his neighbor and being an expert on presidential trivia, Bass didn't think he'd have a problem answering this $125,000 question.
Who was the youngest U.S. president at his inauguration?
Bass's answer was Kennedy. The wrong answer, according to show producers. They say Roosevelt was the youngest. But was he?
I watch it every once in a while.
So when Chappaqua Horace Greeley High School history teacher Tim O'Brien heard the outcome of the Q&A, he knew Bass was right.
John F. Kennedy was the youngest president ever inaugurated, and the key to the question is the word.
In fact, history books read President Roosevelt was sworn in after McKinley's assassination. He says Roosevelt wasn't actually inaugurated until 1905, when he was elected to office. Webster Dictionary's definition of inauguration: to introduce into an office with suitable ceremonies. News 12 talked to Bass by phone from his Manhattan finance office.
Was kind of surprised when they told me I was wrong.
Sorry, it was...
You know, not confident enough to stand up and scream on the spot or anything, but as soon as I got home from the show, I started checking into it.
Despite several complaints from Bass and from viewers on ABC's website, the network is standing by its final answer. Bass will not be asked to return to the show.
There were essentially two answers that were defensible, either Roosevelt or Kennedy, and I gave one of them. So I think I should continue on from where I left off.
Bass did take home $32,000, but he continued to fight for a chance at the $1 million jackpot. Jennifer Jordan, News 12 Westchester.
Well, ABC did fax us a Roosevelt fact sheet, which does state he was inaugurated in 1901, but according to the Library of Congress timeline, he was inaugurated in 1905, so kind of depends on who you ask on this one.
That is going to be interesting. I will make my guess that he'll end up back on the show, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. I was going to try to find out.
I'm phoning a friend right now to find out what's going on here.
Give us your final answer.
Let's get my final answer. Here's the final answer on the weather.
I've been following the story. The very popular ABC broadcast, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, has a little controversy on their hands about a political question right up your alley that was asked of a contestant. His answer, which he's fighting for his answer, correct? Can you give us the question, what his answer was, and what the true answer is?
Right. Well, the question was, who was the youngest president inaugurated? And he said JFK, and came back and said, no, it was Teddy Roosevelt. Now, Teddy Roosevelt was the youngest president to serve because he came in after McKinley was assassinated. So the question is, what is the definition of inauguration? He did take the oath, Teddy Roosevelt. He was younger than JFK, but he didn't have some big inaugural ceremony. There was no parade, there was no inaugural ball, there was no great procession. He was just taken in by an oath of office. In common parlance, we've come to understand the word inaugurated as not simply the oath, but everything that surrounds it. Ever since old George Washington came in wanting to have golden horses and a golden suit of armor to look like a king, it's become a big ceremony. So I think the question was ambiguous, and I think this guy who answered JFK had some right on his side. Clearly the Teddy people have some right on their side. They should give him another chance and bring him back. It's too important when you have a chance of winning $1 million and you don't get it, when the question itself could be interpreted different ways. And we political junkies, historians, we debate which one is right. This has been a comrade in those crazy irrational moments at night when we should have other things to do.
Regis Philbin on line one for you, Doris. Let's pause here and take a look at a piece of tape. This is the contestant defending himself this morning on Today.
And I wasn't 100% sure. I thought, wow, you know, maybe there was something I missed. But as soon as I got home, I called one of my lifelines who is a PhD in American history, and when I asked him the question without telling him what had gone on right away, he said Kennedy, and he said, but that's a very poorly worded question.
Pretty much what you just said. Bob Bass, and we should point out, of Chappaqua, New York, who will soon have two history buffs as neighbors, correct?
Correct, that's right. He's going to be in an important place with Chappaqua.
You got it. Doris Kearns Goodwin, as always, it's been a long broadcast day for you, and we thank you for coming on.
You're welcome, as always.
When we come back here tonight, what happens when two giant